January 4th, 2015 from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It was a wild card matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys won the toss. They elected to receive. They would get the ball after the opening kickoff on their own 20. And on their first possession, they went 3 and out and punted from their own 23. So now the Lions would take over on their own 38 after the punt with 13 and a half minutes still left in the first quarter. And on 2nd and 10 from the 38, Stafford dropped back. He hit Joique Bell. Joique Bell took it 11 yards for the first down to the 49. And now on 2nd and 10 from the 49, Stafford dropped back and he hit Golden Tate for a 51-yard touchdown. And the Lions put the first points on the scoreboard with the score Detroit 7, Dallas 0. So now the Cowboys get the ball on their own 20 after the kickoff with a little less than 11 and a half minutes left in the first. But after 6 plays, they would end up punting the ball from their own 40. So now the Lions would take over, backed up against their own end zone on their own 1-yard line after the punt with 9 minutes still on the clock in the first. And they would end up punting the ball. But on the punt, it was actually a penalty of running into the kicker against the defense. And so now they would get a first down on the 12-yard line. So they would have went 3 and out, but now it was a 1st and 10 on the 12. And a couple plays later, it was 3rd and 8 on the 14. Stafford then scrambled for the first down with a 9-yard run that brought the ball to the 23. Reggie then picked up 9 yards, and on 2nd and 1 from the 32, they gave it to Joique Bell. He picked up 11 yards on the ground, and it was now a first down on the Detroit 43 for the Lions. They then got into Dallas territory, and on 2nd and 2 from the 49, Stafford went to Joique Bell. He picked up 18 yards off the screen, and it was now a first down on the Dallas 31 for the Lions. Then on 2nd and 1 from the 22, Joique Bell picks up 4 yards after having picked up 9 on first down, but now it was a first in the red zone for the Lions on the 18. On 2nd and 10 from the 18, Reggie runs it in for the 18-yard touchdown, looking like back when he was a Trojan. And it was now Detroit 14, Dallas 0. So now the Cowboys get the ball with about 2 minutes still left in the first. They had on their own 20 after the kickoff. They picked up a first down, but then on 2nd and 6 from the 37, Tony Romo was sacked. He fumbled the ball, but Beasley ended up jumping on it for the Cowboys. So now it'll be 3rd and 12 from the 31. Tony Romo out of the shotgun, and it was Witten, Jason Witten, 16 yards for the first down at the Dallas 47, and that brought the first quarter to a close. So after one quarter of play, the score was Detroit 14, Dallas nothing. So now the Cowboys get the ball. Well, they started off the second quarter with the ball on their own 47, but they ended up punting the ball from their own 38. So after 7 plays on the drive that's extended back to the first quarter, they punted from their own 38, and so now the Lions would take over on their own 11-yard line after the punt with about 14 minutes left before halftime, and after 8 plays, they would end up punting from their own 43. So now Dallas would take over with a little less than 10 minutes on the clock in the second. They had on their own 14 after the punt, and on first down, DeMarco Murray picked up 18 yards on a run, and that would actually be more than half of his yards in this first half. But that made a first down on the 32, but after 7 plays, they would end up punting from their own 45. So now the Lions would take over on their own 14 after the punt with a little over 5 minutes left in the second, and they would end up punting from their own 16 after having gone 3 and out on the possession, having also picked up a couple penalties. And now, after the punt, the Cowboys would have the ball on their own 26 with about 2 minutes left to play in the second quarter. Romo hit Terrance Williams for an 8-yard reception. That brought us to the 2-minute warning. So now coming out of the 2-minute warning was 2nd and 2 on the 34. An incomplete pass would bring up 3rd down, but then a penalty for offensive pass interference would make it 3rd and 12 on the 24. So now with less than 2 minutes, 3rd and 12 from the 24 out of the shotgun. Tony Romo drops back and hits Terrance Williams, and Terrance Williams was off to the races, 76 yards for the touchdown. And so now the Cowboys put their first points on the scoreboard as they cut the Lions' lead to 7 with the score Detroit 14, Dallas 7. So now the Lions will get the ball on their own 20 after the kickoff with about a minute and a half left before halftime. And on 2nd and 3 from the 27 out of the no-huddle in the shotgun, Stafford went to Theo Riddick. He picked up 13 yards and a first down at the 40. And the Lions used their first timeout. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 40, Stafford went to Megatron Calvin Johnson Jr. for a 19-yard reception. They made a first down in the Dallas 41. And then on 3rd and 5 from the 36, Stafford went to Golden Tate. He picked up 4. They ended up reviewing the play, and they ruled that he had actually picked up 6 yards. So they didn't quite give him the spot on the first attempt, and then they fixed the spot. And so now it's a 1st and 10 on the Dallas 30. Stafford then hit Reggie Bush for a 9-yard reception. The Lions used their second timeout. Now on 2nd and 1 from the 21, an incomplete pass would end up bringing out Matt Prater. It was 3rd down, but with just seconds left, the Lions would just take a timeout to get ready and set up for the field goal. And so now Prater would come out to attempt that 39-yarder. It was up. It was good. And now the Lions extended their lead to 10 right before halftime with the score Detroit 17, Dallas 7. They would kick off the ball to officially bring the first half to a close. And so it was Detroit 17, Dallas 7, as I just stated, and going into halftime. And in the first half of this game, DeMarco Murray only had 30 yards rushing, and the Lions actually got in and sacked Romo 3 times. So now to start the second half, the Cowboys would kick off to Detroit. Detroit would have the ball on their own 20. And on first down, Stafford dropped back, and he was intercepted by Wilbur. Mincy got a hand on it. And so now it would be Cowboys ball in the red zone for their first possession of the second half with it on the Detroit 19. DeMarco Murray then picked up 5 yards to make it 2nd and 5. He then picked up another 4 yards. So now that made it 3rd and 1 from the 10. And on 3rd and 1 from the 10, instead of giving it back to Murray, they go to the shotgun. They were in the shotgun on the second down, but Romo would drop back to pass, and he was sacked by Ziggy Ansah. So Ezekiel Ansah drops him for a 13-yard loss. So now out came Dan Bailey to attempt a 41-yard field goal. It was up, and it was no good. And so it remained Detroit 17, Dallas 7. So now the Lions get the ball for the first time in this third quarter. And they had it on their own 31 after the missed field goal with a little less than 13 minutes left on the clock. And on 2nd and 6 from the 35, Stafford went to Brandon Pettigrew. He picked up 11 yards in the first down at the 46. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 46, Stafford went to Megatron Calvin Johnson Jr. for a 28-yard reception. And that made it a first down in Dallas territory at the 26. But they weren't able to get another first down, and their drive would end up stalling on the 19. So out would come Matt Prater to attempt a 37-yard field goal. It was up, and it was good. And now the Lions were up by 13 with the score Detroit 20, Dallas 7. So now the Cowboys will get the ball after the kickoff on their own 20 with less than 9 minutes left in the third. They're faced with a 2nd and 3 from the 27. DeMarco Murray picked up 8 yards in the first down at the 35. They then gave it back to DeMarco Murray. He picked up 15 yards in the first down at the 50. Then on 3rd and 10 from the 50, out of the shotgun, Tony Romo drops back to pass, and he hit Dez Bryant for a 43-yard reception. Dez Bryant made some nice moves to extend the play and get some yards after the catch. So now it's 1st and goal on the 7, and DeMarco Murray runs it in for the touchdown. But wait a minute, there's a holding penalty against the Cowboys. So instead of a touchdown, to be 1st and goal on the 17. And so now Tony Romo dropped back out of the shotgun. He found Cole Beasley for a 15-yard reception. It was now 2nd and goal on the 2. Romo then went to Witten. He picked up just a yard, though. Now it's 3rd and goal on the 1. They gave it to DeMarco Murray, and he got stopped. He was stopped short, no gain. And Dominic Sue was there. So now it's 4th and goal on the 1. And now they had a choice. Would they go for the field goal, the chip shot, or would they go for it? And they elected to go for it, and they gave it to DeMarco Murray. And DeMarco Murray punches it in from a yard out for the touchdown to make it a 6-point game. And so it was now Detroit 20, Dallas 14. So now Detroit, we get the ball after the kickoff on their own 20 with 3 minutes left in the third. And they went 3 and out on this possession. And so now they went 3 and out and would punt from their own 28. And Dallas would take over after the punt on their own 31 with just over a minute left. And on first down, Tony Romo went to Cole Beasley, picked up 19 yards in the first down at the 50. They again gave it to DeMarco Murray. He took it 5 yards to the Detroit 45. And that brought the third quarter to a close. So after 3 quarters of play, the score was Detroit 20, Dallas 14. So now to begin the fourth quarter, the Cowboys had the ball on the Detroit 45, and a penalty against the defense for unnecessary roughness after a 12-yard reception by Beasley would make it a first down in the red zone on the Detroit 18 for the Cowboys. But then DeMarco got stopped for no gain. Then Romo was sacked by Ndamukong Suh for a 5-yard loss. Now it's 3rd and 15 from the 23 out of the shotgun. Tony Romo dropped back to pass, and he was sacked by Ndamukong Suh for the second consecutive play, this time for a 10-yard loss. And that was a long play. Suh just put in a lot of extra effort to get Romo. Romo was scrambling around. He couldn't find anybody, and it just eventually he ran out of time, and Suh was there. So now it's 4th and 25, and they would bring out Dan Bailey to attempt a 51-yard field goal. He missed a 41-yarder on his last attempt, but this one was up, and it was good. And so now it was a 3-point game with the score Detroit 20, Dallas 17. So now the Lions would get the ball on their own 5-yard line after the kickoff, backed up against their own end zone. And on 2nd and 12 from the 3, Stafford out of the shotgun. He somehow finds Fuller for a 21-yard reception to make it a first down on the 24 as they get out of the shadow of the end zone. And now on 3rd and 8 from the 26, Stafford hit Megatron for a 19-yard reception. It was now first down on the 45. They then, on 2nd and 6, Joique Bell took it 5 yards after Bush had run it 4 yards on first down. It was now 3rd and 1 on the 46. And on 3rd and 1 from the 46, Stafford dropped back, and he tossed it to Brandon Pettigrew, and Hitchinson he was draping him like a blanket, but somehow there wasn't a pass interference call. But wait, there was a flag, but then they picked up the flag. Somehow it was a penalty, but wasn't a penalty. But what? And is it pass interference? Was it? Was it not? We'll wait to see what the league has to say. It looked like it. And I'll tell you, this year, it's just been a lot of funky pass interference calls. So that's something they're going to have to work on the offseason to get that corrected one way or another, because all season long that's been an issue. But either way, it was now 4th and 1, and then they got a delay a game penalty. So they lined up like they were going to go for it, but they actually tried to draw the Cowboys off sides. That didn't happen. They stood firm, and so now a delay a game for the Lions would make the punting unit come out to punt from the 49, and now the Cowboys would get the ball back, trailing by 3 with the ball on their own 41 after the punt with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And on first down, Tony Romo out of the shotgun hit DeMarco Murray, took it 13 yards to the Detroit 46 for the first down. Then on 3rd and 8 from the 44, Tony Romo went to DeMarco Murray, picked up 2 yards. And so now it'd be 4th and 6 on the 42 with 6 minutes left, and they elected to go for it. And out of the shotgun, Tony Romo hits Jason Witten, and he goes 21 yards. So Jason Witten with a huge play, and now it was a first down on the Detroit 21 for the Cowboys. And on 2nd and 21, Romo threw an incomplete pass, but there was a defensive holding penalty against the Lions. So now it's first down on the 16 for the Cowboys. Then on 3rd and 10 from the 13, Tony Romo out of the shotgun finds Dunbar. He lost a couple yards, but there was a defensive holding penalty against the Lions as they again picked up a penalty and extended the drive for the Cowboys. So instead of the field goal unit having to come out, it would be a first down, 1st and goal on the 8. And they would end up with an incomplete pass, and then Murray ran it 5 yards. Now it was 3rd and goal on the 3, and about a false start penalty would push them back. And so now it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and goal from the 8. Out of the shotgun, Tony Romo finds Terrance Williams for an 8-yard touchdown. The second touchdown connection between these two in this game, and the Cowboys were now in the lead for the first time in this game with just about 2.5 minutes left to play, with the score Dallas 24, Detroit 20. So now the Lions get the ball after the kickoff on their own 20. And on 2nd and 4 from the 26, out of the no-huddle in the shotgun, Matthew Stafford dropped back, and he was sacked by Spencer. He forced the fumble. It was recovered by Lawrence. And then Lawrence fumbles the ball, and it was recovered by Reef. So a crazy play where Stafford fumbles it, the Cowboys pick it up, Lawrence had it, and he fumbles it, and now Detroit ended up getting it. So 2 fumbles on the same play, and now it's a first down on the Detroit 23 for the Lions. And that last crazy play had brought us to the 2-minute warning. So now coming out of the 2-minute warning, Stafford would go to Ebron. The rookie picked up 6 yards. And then on 2nd and 4 from the 29, Stafford went to Golden Tate. He picked up 7. That made a first down on the 36. Then an incomplete pass would bring up 2nd down. And Stafford went to Theo Riddick. He picked up 15 yards off a screen. And now the Lions took a timeout with about a minute 18 left to play in this game. Down by 4. It was 1st and 10 on the 49. Stafford then threw an incomplete pass. It was knocked down at the line. So now it's 2nd down. And then a penalty for a false start against the Lions to make it 2nd and 15 from the 46. Stafford then went to the rookie, and Ebron picked up 8 yards. And now it's 3rd and 7 on the 46. Out of the shotgun, Stafford then goes to Theo Riddick. He picks up 4, but now that brought up 4th and 3 on the Dallas 42. They had no choice but to go for it, down by 4. And out of the shotgun, Matthew Stafford drops back, and he's sacked by Lawrence. Lawrence forces the fumble and recovers. So Lawrence comes up huge. He might have been the GOAT after fumbling the ball, after recovering the fumble earlier and giving the Lions an extra chance. But right here, he comes up with the super clutch play on 4th and 3 as he sacks Stafford and forces the fumble and recovers it and makes the Lions turn the ball. Well, it would have been a turnover on downs if they didn't fumble it. But now the Cowboys had the ball on the Detroit 47 with less than a minute, and all that was left to do was for Tony Romo to take 2 knees as the Dallas Cowboys advance to the divisional round of the playoffs, where they will be going to face the Green Bay Packers as they beat the Lions in this game with the final score, Dallas 24, Detroit 20. So Tony Romo leads the Cowboys on the 4th quarter comeback. They were down by 10 at halftime, and then even in the 3rd quarter they were down by 13, but with 18 minutes left to play, DeMarco Murray scores that touchdown, and that would lead to 17 unanswered points, stretching into the 4th quarter all the way down to a 2.5 minutes left when Romo connected with Terrance Williams for the 2nd time for that 4th quarter comeback as they took the lead for the first time in the game. They trailed all game as the Lions defense made it very difficult for Dallas. They played their hearts out, but Tony Romo comes up huge with the biggest win of his career with this win in wildcard weekend over the Lions. They said they will be going to Green Bay to face the Packers in Lambeau Field. The last time those two teams faced off in a playoff game in Green Bay was back in 1967. I believe that was the NFC Championship game, known as the Ice Bowl. But the Tony Romo in this game was 19 for 31 with 293 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Matthew Stafford was 28 for 42 with 323 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He also had 1 carry for 9 yards. The leading rusher in the game was DeMarco Murray at 19 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. Joique Bell had 43 yards off of 12 carries to be the Lions' leading rusher. Reggie Bush had 8 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown. Joique Bell also had 4 receptions for 42 yards to go along with his 43 yards rushing. And Reggie Bush had 3 receptions for 10 yards to go along with his 37 yards rushing. The leading receiver was Terrance Williams. He had 3 receptions for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. I actually had him in my playoff fantasy. I'm pretty happy about that. But Jason Witten, 5 receptions for 63 yards. Cole Beasley, 4 receptions for 63 yards. Dez Bryant, 3 receptions for 48 yards. And DeMarco Murray had 3 receptions for 22 yards to go along with his 75 yards rushing that I mentioned a moment ago. Golden Tate had 6 receptions for 89 yards and a touchdown. Calvin Johnson Jr. Megatron had 5 receptions for 85 yards. And Theo Riddick had 4 receptions for 39 yards. And Ebron had 3 receptions for 21 yards. The leading tackler in this game was James Ahidebo of the Lions. He had 9 tackles and a sack. The leading tackler for the Cowboys was J.J. Wilcox. He had 7 tackles. The Cowboys had 3 sacks in this game. Mincy had a sack, Spencer had a sack, and Lawrence had that sack that sealed the deal and really won the game for the Cowboys. In the final score, Dallas 24, Detroit 20.